What's up, everybody? This is Greg Birch with Delta Financial, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about helping you with sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and we bring on guest speakers. Today, I got a very special guest. I got Mr. Chase McAllister from UNRL.
I love the sound effects. What's going on, man? How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm all right. You know, working, busy. We're always busy.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing to do.
Glad to be on.
It's a good thing to have. You don't want to be like busy for the sake of busy, but you do want to be productive. Like you want to be intentional and productive.
Yeah. Now it's just busy doing all the basics.
Yeah.
And I tend to add more basics to my plate continuously.
Well, here's the thing, and you may be able to tell, like, talk about this, and dev this out with me. But it's funny when you start to do things, you think, I'm so busy, I don't have the time, and then you get used to it, and it's kind of like blowing up a balloon that expands, and you think, I can't take any more air, and then you get used to it, and you come back, and you're bigger than you were, and then you blow it again, and you can take on more. So you get used to those things, and then you take on more, and then you realize, you look back, like, man, like 6 months ago when I was doing like half of this, I thought I was so busy, and I wasn't, right? Yeah. And I realized this concept when I had children, because you think you have no time at all until a child comes into your life, and then you're like, man, I've spent all my time trying to take care of this little piece of crap. And then like one kid, and then when you have two kids, you're like, now I got two of these little bastards. Like, what's going on? So, and it's a constant like evolution, and then you just realize that we just waste our time.
Yeah. No, and even once I had my daughter, it a huge shift in like what I could accomplish in a day, what I had to accomplish in a day, because there's no choice but to at least manage my time a little better, right? Yeah. Especially when you're waking up at 2-3 in the morning when the baby's crying. It's like, all right, well, I'm up, I might as well try to get some work done now. Nap in the day, you try to move your schedule. So I think you become more robust to adapting to your days than
absolutely
when
do.
You're before you're a parent. But
you absolutely do. So Chase is, for most of you that are watching this, you probably already know him because most of you are already in the insurance industry, but we're going to dig into Chase in a way that you've never heard before. So you're going to learn things about him that is going to be unique and refreshing. Okay.
The real deets.
Yeah, exactly. So Chase, just for everyone's wonder, so that for those that don't know Chase, he is the chairman of the board for the Transfer Syndicate. He's also the CEO of UNRL. He was born and raised in Ontario, Canada. He's currently living in Toronto, Ontario. And Chase started his company UNRL 5 years ago. UNRL is an all-in-one marketing and sales ecosystem for insurance agents. He provides automation, leads, and live transfers. Chase is also the chairman of the Transfer Syndicate, as I mentioned, but he founded that this year, which is a private network of top telesales agents specifically for his new live transfers services. Chase, thank you for coming on board and having a discussion with me.
Thanks for the intro. What an intro.
So let's start off. What got you? Let's start off. When is your first entrepreneurial activity that you ever did? Let's talk about being an entrepreneur and taking that jump into the realm of that.
Actually, it's kind of a funny story, but I started doing private parties in high school. Like we would throw like massive bush parties in the forest or like on the top of like a hill, and I'd bring out my DJ equipment. I'll get into the DJing a little bit later, but would bring my DJ equipment. We would hook, this is a funny story, but we would hook up extension cords to this power tower. We found an outlet and we would hook up extension cords, brought my DJ equipment into this, forest and hill looked over the city. And we would bring a bunch of high school kids there. And we had it kind of fenced off in a way where we would just start charging people to come to the parties. That kind of snowballed into getting into the club scene here and promoting at the clubs when I was in high school, doing like all age dances and stuff. And then got into just DJing once, you know, I was of age here in Canada, and really started doing, you know, after parties and parties, and it just kind of snowballed into my, I guess, what I would call my first entrepreneurial gig. It was more or less like I just wanted to have fun, but then it needed to support the actions, and we did crazy, you know, big shows. We brought in some famous DJs, we brought in, you know, famous rappers at the time, and like, you know, it really, I think that's what allowed me to really understand what I could do if I just put my mind to it. And that's what kind of blew the box apart. Like I wasn't in a fishbowl anymore. Like I knew I could attain other things than just going to, you know, university, going through the actual norm. And as we'll probably get into, I didn't go through that. So really for me, I started DJing till I was about 25, and that's when I had stopped and ended up getting into, you know, just marketing, because obviously with DJing, it was all about marketing and getting our faces out there and getting the parties out there. So that's something that I always kind of just knew and it was, you know, dear to my heart. So, you know, going back, we started doing, you know, these big after parties. We actually started renting out a penthouse above the apartment that I was in. And this is this is probably like 19 years old. We're renting out a penthouse in the apartment, still have our apartment with me and my two buddies that rented it out. We put up money together, got the penthouse, and would have massive pre-parties for the clubs. And the club was actually just across the street. So what we would do is we would get massive Texas Mickeys, bring in 200 people to this penthouse, and bring them to the club, and then get paid from the club for bringing them to the club. And yeah, that was really my first entrepreneurial gig. Did it with a bunch of a group of friends, and then moved on and started doing, you know, shoes, as well as took my college tuition at the time and actually bought a food truck. I said, I'm not going to college. I know how to make money. I know how to get in front of people. I know how to network. I don't need to do this. And I didn't need a certificate to, you know, tell me how successful I was going to be. And that was just my attitude. And I don't think, you know, school is wrong. I think, you know, school is amazing. My daughter is definitely going to go to school. I think it was pretty risky decision of myself. I don't condone it for anybody that's still thinking about going to college, go to college. But what I did is I bought a food truck with the college tuition that thankfully my parents had saved up for. And I, you know, the food truck went around a Rib Fest series circuit. It did really well. We sold tacos and coffee, kind of a crazy combo. It ended up kind of going to crap with a couple of the partners, but yeah, those were my first kind of entrepreneurial gigs, if you will.
Yeah. So I want to back up and talk about what you just said about your daughter. What's your daughter's name, by the way?
My daughter's name is Rain McAllister.
Rain McAllister. She's adorable, by the way. You guys go look at his Instagram and his Facebook. So precious. It's just littered with pictures of her. So that is an interesting concept that you took that chance. You did not go to university or to college, as you know, university is the Canada version of what you call it.
Yeah.
So you didn't go to college. You took a chance on yourself. You ended up being successful, you know, and you learned, like, I can make money. I don't need this. But you're saying, man, I want my daughter to go to college, right?
Yeah.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
It's been absolute hell for me to, I mean, truthfully, luckily I have the people that I've brought into the company that I do and that I lean on for my downfalls. And a lot of my downfalls, I think, with business and some admin stuff comes from not having those extra years in schools, which I think in college you have far more deadlines to come up with. And like, those are things that I really had to learn and had to get done like really quick. It wasn't something that was natural for me because it was instilled. So I had to pick up the pace and figure it the hell out, or we were losing money. Right. Well,
but you're the entrepreneur. They are the intrapreneur. Okay. So, yeah. And that's what an entrepreneur does. Entrepreneur is the visionary. You're the one that goes and says, let's do this. I have a vision. I think that we can achieve this. And then you end up finding people along the way that kind of believe the same thing that can supplement and improve the things that you can't do, because not everyone's willing to go out and jump off that cliff and lead the way first.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So like I went to college. And knowing what I know, if I've got 4 kids myself. My oldest is 17. She's in high school. She's in senior in high school, and she's putting in college applications. Now, will she go to college? She wants to go to college. But if she were to ask me my opinion and say, Dad, do you think I should go to college? Do you think I should go in business myself? I'd say, go in business for yourself.
Well, okay. So let's go back to that. If she were to tell me that she wants to go to school, I'm going to support that. But knowing that her dad is, I'm not going to float, but if she's wanted a business, her dad knows how to market it, right? Like I'm gonna, like it's gonna be successful. So that would be like the first thing. If she came to me wanting to be an entrepreneur, boom, we're doing it. But if she came to me and she wasn't quite feeling it, I'm not going to force her to not go down a path that she would want to go down. Basically, is what I was saying. And I'm not going to put my opinions, because my opinions of school is not like a great ROI, you know, like, so for me,
I don't think it is either. I went.
And I guess for me, the reason why I didn't go, and truthfully honest, I only need 20 hours community service, which is funny as heck, but there's 20 hours community service for me to get my grade 12 diploma. And I just, honestly, for me, I was sitting there and I was already making, you know, plus 6 figures a year, just sitting there at 18 years old. I was like, really cocky. I'll be honest with you. At that point, I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
Thinking back, I probably could have, you know, I was probably too young to make that decision. You know, like if I could go back on it. But, you know, I just decided I didn't want the certificate to tell me how successful I was going to be.
But maybe you needed that kind of cockiness to get where you are today.
And then also
that would have changed the dichotomy of everything that is today.
And that's helped me significantly, because what my like where I'm the best and where I work the best is when I'm at 0, and like when I have a wall against my back. And I think by not going to college, it just gave me that shit. This has got to fucking work out. Sorry for my language, but
no, you can that's fine.
Okay, cool.
No, I agree, man, and I think that's a dichotomy of thought. And I think a really great concept that I can always break down and talk with anybody is, you know, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, one, I don't think it's for everybody, but people that have that spark, they're like, just like, I kind of want to build something. Because I'm gonna get biblical here for a second. Like we are all meant to create. We are creators, just like our creator. Whatever you worship, whether it's, you know, God, Buddha, Allah, doesn't matter. Okay. We are all meant to create, because we are made in the image of our creator that created all of us, that created the stars, the planets, everything. Okay. Whatever you believe. I do believe in like a higher power. I do believe that we were put here for a reason, but if we're made in the image, then we are also creators, and we are doing our best work when we are doing in the image of being of God, okay, or of a higher power. And that makes us creators. And that's why I think being an entrepreneur is where, when you really throw yourself into it, man, that's when you feel like alive. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you really like start to create something and you start to do something, you start to impact lives. And that's why I love it so much. But it's that confidence piece. It's the fear. It's you have to put yourself into a position almost where it forces you, because it's like sink or swim, and it's like live or die, you know. If you continuously have all these other second options or chances or anything like that, like if my kids went entrepreneur, I'd be like, do it, good luck.
Yeah.
And now would I help them if they needed it? Probably, but they're not going to know that. And when they have those struggles and challenges, and they come to me and say, man, I got this, that, and that going on, and like this is going wrong and this is going wrong, I'm gonna look at them and say, that's good. What are you gonna do about it? Because this is the challenge, is where we find out what you're made of.
Yeah. And honestly, it's kind of, I was listening to a Drake song this morning, which is hilarious that I'm bringing this up or quoting Drake in this, but he said, more money, more problems. I want all the problems. Well, like, yeah, it's like you need to get good at solving problems, because being a business owner, that's literally all you're going to deal with is just problem after problem, because that's how businesses work. You solve problems, right?
Yeah.
And if you get intimidated by consecutive problems in your day and you don't know how to not let that drain your brain and just understand how to solve just even the smallest things, it allows you to be a lot more robust. And you really need that to be a successful entrepreneur, because there's going to be times where you want to buckle up and cry. There's not a single successful entrepreneur that can tell me that it's been easy, and there hasn't been a single time where you haven't, like, there's been times where I've like just don't want to get out of bed. You're crying in your sleep almost, and that happens.
Waking up the whole pucker just tight as just man, how am I gonna make money today?
Yeah, exactly. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's why I'm 29 years old and I'm fully gray. Like,
I'm getting there, bro. I'm getting there.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
It is definitely a challenge, and but there's nothing more rewarding, right? And in those moments when you are stressed or nervous or you feel like the world's falling apart on you, what I can tell you is that, like, it's all going to be okay. Just keep moving forward. Just don't quit. Just keep moving forward. I had a situation that happened literally this week. Monday. It went backwards a couple about a week and a half ago. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but something happened in the business that I was like, damn it, And then this Monday, and through that process, there was other things that were happening that I had like an intuitive sense about.
Yeah,
I was like, the hell, and I was like talking to Kevin, and I was talking to Zach, and I was like, hey, I feel like this is going to happen, right? And they're like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, I just got this weird feeling. And sure as hell, I was right. And I found out Monday. And when it happened, even though I kind of anticipated it when it happened, I felt like the world was crumbling down around me. And I was like, am I doing the right thing? And like, is this like, what the hell is going on? It's just like fire after fire I'm putting out. And I was stressed the hell out. And I called up Kevin, and I was just like, bro, like, I don't even know what to do about this. And he was like, well, let's just call Brian Pope. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I called Brian. I told him, and he was like, oh, man, don't worry about it. He was like, that's because he's been in the industry for 35 years. So like, he's seen everything. So like, when I tell him this problem, it feels like it's insurmountable cliff. He's like, nah, that's not a big deal. We're just going to do this, that, the other. And we ended up, I ended up flying out. He flew out with me, and I spent 24, 36 hours with Brian, and it ended up being this really great experience just because I just kept moving forward and kept a positive attitude about it and trying to solve the problems. And that's what we are. That's what entrepreneurs are. They're problem solvers, right? They're creators and problem solvers. Yeah. And it ended up being a very positive experience. Like a very positive experience, like so much so that it like reframed my perspective on a lot of things that I look back at, and I'm like, man, I'm actually glad that happened.
Yeah.
And so you'd be surprised when you start to look at things and think of, instead of thinking like, man, this is happening to me, and being like, hey, this is happening for me, this is challenging me, this is helping me to grow, this is taking me to the next level. Because I promise you're not going to become the CEO if you can't handle the problems of a brand new baby agent. If you can't handle the problems of someone kicking you in the mouth, in the teeth while you're on the phones, you're not going to be able to be a CEO, bro. It's just not happening.
I think every time that we have it down or something happens in the business where it feels like, because that always happens, where it feels like everything's just crumbling down in front of you, I find that that's always the pressure in the cooking pot that builds the next rise. And I think that's a healthy place to be. You're always going to have, every 3-6 months, there's always going to be something in the business that's going to bring it to a correction stage. There's always going to be a corrective state. You're always optimizing. You guys always have to get better, right? That's the whole point of a company, is to just always excel, right? Excel in sales, excel in product, and excel in fulfillment, and excel in customer
engagement
service, and retention, etc. Right? And it's after you continue to excel, some things get missed, right? And as you're trying to build a company, man, it gets hard. Like, especially as a CEO, you need to be able to instill your vision into the core people, and those core people need to be able to recite that same vision, which is a very hard thing to do. It's a very hard thing to do, which you've been able to do really, really well, which is an amazing feat. Is getting people collectively attached to the same vision, so that when they're implementing their work, and they're doing the things that they need to do, they're equally invested in it, equally invested in learning about it, and equally invested in making it better. And once you've been able to push that vision and have a collective core of people that are running the business see that vision, really sky's the limit. And then it's also to just managing it and keeping the momentum, keeping the gas on the pedal, and knowing when to bring the gas off the pedal too. Every 6 weeks for myself, I take 4 days and I just say, I don't book any meetings. I don't take anything. I spend those 4 days by myself and just hardcore on Google Docs, just putting the vision, putting the things that I need to see. I want to see the business, where the business go, the different departments that I want to, lever up and put the gas down, or have them, re-optimize. So I'm taking that time every 6 weeks to make sure that we're always having a corrective state every 6 weeks on certain things that need to happen. Right.
That's so good. I love that.
And then it just makes sure that, like, when I do have a high, I'm still looking at all those pieces. So I'm maintaining the high. And
do you change your environment when you do that?
What's that?
Do you change your environment when you do that?
Yeah, no. So, like, there's a place called like Nordic Spa here it's not here, it's in Quebec. It's in the French land here. But they have, like, it's just like it's like a spa, but basically you just go there, sauna huts, everything, read a book, do whatever you want. And I tend to go there. But then there's just a couple places nearby too that we go to, and I just try to exclude myself, even from, like, Alexis, my fiance, and the baby. I try sometimes. I'll take, like, a day, especially a day just by myself, or they'll come with me and it's just silence, and, like, we're just by ourselves. And I think I need that, because it gets hectic. Even if you keep a schedule, running a business, there's always going to be things that come at you. Right. So you have to be really restrictive of what you take in a day. Like, you can't just be going to every fire, right? You can't, because then by the time you're done every fire, you've listed all your basics. Now you're playing catch up, and it becomes a massive snowball effect, right? So maintaining, that peace core, every day, taking just 20 minutes just of silence. Mm-hmm. Doing a 90-day letter to yourself. Who's the person that I need to be in 90 days, and where I want to be in 90 days, and writing that down. I do that basically every day. I'm writing down a 90-day letter, 20 minutes to myself. And then every 6 weeks, I'm sitting down and doing, like, a massive 90-day letter of, what are the character traits of the person that is going to be that person in 90 days, the person that I need that person to be in 90 days. Because, yeah, businesses grow, but you as a CEO, you need to grow too. Like, the amount of different belief shifts that I've had to have in my own self to get to where we are in our business has been massive. I think you've witnessed a lot of them. I mean, there's probably been conversations we've gone on. It's like a melting pot of, like, pressure. And then we walk away from it. And it's like, shit, we realized a lot of things, like, I can go and fix. And I've always been able to grow that way. But
I love everything that you're going on. And I really love that this conversation is going into places I didn't even know it was going to go. Like, I was all like, we're going to talk about how you became an entrepreneur, talk about how you got in life insurance, and your marketing.
Buy my leads.
But this. So if you guys everyone that's listening to this is powerful stuff. And this is how you can literally take your game to the next level. The things that he's talking about are practical strategies that you can apply to your life in order to improve and grow. for instance, like doing that daily writing check of like where he wants to be, that's kind of like a daily goal. When you write, it becomes real. It's more likely. There's a concept. In fact, there was a study that was done where 3 people were tasked with the same thing. Okay. But they were treated differently. It's 3 different groups. There are 3 people, 3 different groups of people. The first group were told, hey, go work out and go track your workouts for the next week. Second group was called the motivational group. They were said, hey, go work out and go track your workouts for next week. But also they were given this article that they had to read. That was like the benefits of working out to your mental, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health. In addition, they got a class about how working out can improve your heart health. Okay. Third group got everything from the second group, but in addition, they had to write down at the end of it, when, where, and what they were going to do, when they were going to work out, where it was going to be, and what they were going to do. And they had to write it out for the next week. Out of those 3 groups, the group between group A and group B motivational, there was not a big difference. It was like 35% of people actually did it on group 1 and 38% of people on group 2. Almost nominal difference. However, how much percentage do you think happened in group 3? Just by writing it down. 91%.
Jeez.
And they continued to work out as a habit.
Yeah.
So writing down that stuff is really important because it's going to take you to the next level. There's something powerful when it comes to you put pen to paper, right?
Which I think people get. I mean, I know I do. I struggle sometimes, especially if we have really busy weeks, big high sales weeks, or whatever it might be, or we're releasing a new product, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. That there's times where I get in a situation where I'm so busy that I don't have the patience to sit down and write it all down. And I think that even like doing like brain dumps every day, there's sometimes where there's a lot of intellectual property that you need to write down, SOPs, whatever it might be. I struggle sometimes with a busy week to get down and do it. I force myself to do it. It's not something that just like you know, you're going to get motivated one moment to go and write these things down. And it's something that you have to force yourself to do. And I force myself to think about it too, because people lack and forget about the importance of getting your IP and the thoughts out. And it doesn't even just be like business thoughts. It's more or less like everything, you know, your goals, who you want to be, whatever it might be. And getting to like, what's stopping you from being that person, writing those things down, getting deep, forcing yourself to really like let it all out. And like you said, writing it down is essential because it's, even if it's a bad thing, you write it down, it's staying on the paper. It's not staying in here. Right. And even if it's a good thing, you know, put it on the paper, you can make sure you remember it more. Right.
And the other piece I want to break out in dev out is when you talked about going for 4 days, basically you are removing yourself from social media, you remove yourself from distractions. You have a different focus, and you also change your environment. People don't understand how much their environment has a play on the habits that they do. For instance, if you always play video games in the living room and you want to go and you want to sit down and read and you go to the living room, what's going to probably happen? You're probably going to get the inkling to be like, man, I want to play some video games. And you're not going to read, and then you're going to play those video games, right? For instance, when here in my office, I'm always doing work and I'm recording podcasts. So if I want to actually get down and start writing out some good information, if I try to do it in any other room in my house, it doesn't work. The ideas don't flow as well because my brain's not calibrated to that environment. And so sometimes it's really good to just clear out your environment or go to a new environment and in order to refocus yourself if you want to do this kind of thing. So I think it's really powerful that you're like, hey, for 4 days, I actually go somewhere else. I get into a new environment. I close myself off from the world. I write out these things I'm going to do for the next 6 months, a year, whatever. And I really just, decompress and gather my thoughts. You come out clearer, more focused, right? That's just a powerful thing to do.
So we actually, I have a mindset coach, Kent. He just did actually a training yesterday or Tuesday in the syndicate, and like we had like 20 of the guys in there that are all just, they're all top producers, but they're all sitting there doing a silent session. It was quite funny, but to look back on it, but they all said like, this was the training we didn't know we needed. And it's like, sometimes you really just need to focus on the mindset, especially as a sales agent, because if you get fatigued, that just comes out in your sales process, and you need to be able to dump these things. All of that, like
mindset's everything. I say it all the time. It's on the freaking poster behind me.
Yeah.
Mindset is everything. It's right there. See that? See that thing?
I mean, mindset and motivation isn't going to get you there. It's going to get you to the door, but you still have to do the work, right? Yeah. But the mindset's going to allow you to stay and actually do the work, right?
And get better. I've seen so many people that have every opportunity given to them, and they're just like they're like, here's all the training, here's some leads, let me get you started, I'm going to do some joint sales with you, I'm going to do this, that, the other, and then they still shit the bed. And then I've seen people that don't get any help, that are literally challenged every single step of the way. They don't have, there's no one teaching them. They don't have anyone to reach out to. There's every obstacle in their path, and they still crush it. The difference between those is the decisions that each one of them make. It's not that one's more talented. It's not that one's more a better person. It has nothing to do with the socioeconomic status, has nothing to do with where they grew up, has nothing to do with the color of their skin, has everything to do with the thoughts and the decisions that they've made, and it is 100% their mindset. Yeah. I've seen it multiple times. Not just in sales, I've seen it when I was in the military. So mindset's everything, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So you were a DJ, party guy, entrepreneur.
Yeah, I guess
what got you? How do you go from that to becoming a marketing company, a marketing CEO for life insurance?
Yeah. So I was DJing for a while. If anybody knows the club scene, it's no matter how hard you try to just keep it as a job, it tends to bleed out into other things, and partying, and I just didn't see myself, I hit some plateaus, and I just didn't see myself really like taking this any further.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a job as the executive assistant to the CEO of an HVAC company, not an insurance company. And I built up their online store for replacement parts to do some pretty, ridiculous sales each year, from 0 to 800,000 in a year. It was just a business that basically they weren't capitalizing on. So as the executive assistant, I ended up just like doing this on the side and building up their website, and then quit my job as the executive assistant. They gave me a job as the marketing director, which wasn't enough money. So I ended up quitting that and then asking just to be paid on a commission basis. And we move forward, and that's starting Unreal, actually. So I started Unreal as a marketing company, and then we were working with a couple different businesses, different industries, some in the real estate space, some in the dental space, actually. And I ended up having the chance to work with an insurance company here as well as in the States, and we ended up getting just really, really good results comparatively to the other clients, to be honest with you. And that's what was like, all right, well, clearly, we're doing something right here. Mm-hmm. I'm passionate about it. I had, I'll get into that, but yeah, that's starting the insurance marketing that we did. I resonated with it a lot. I had a friend who was killed downtown here in the city that I live in, and didn't really have much to leave to him. His parents were actually in the States and just weren't around. And his grandparents who raised him were no longer here. So didn't have anything to cover his funeral or anything. So me and my friends actually had to do like a GoFundMe for him. And we put on the funeral, we arranged the funeral, everything. Me and my 3 friends showed up to be and the guys. So so what happened is I ended up actually at that time, that moment in my life, was working in the agency, and then had gotten a client in the insurance space, in the life insurance space, especially and final expense, and was like, shit, I really resonate with this. Like, this was like, it just became more than just like, you know, the results and the company and what I was passionate about, marketing. And I was like, shit, this is the only thing we're doing. Like, let's just go full tilt. I only want to do this. And then now we help like 11,000 families a month on average right now, which is like, it's freaking cool. Like, to me, that's really cool. Like, you know, amongst the whole network of things that we've been able to push, you know, I'm that's what I'm most proud of, is like, holy crap, I've now done something for him in his name. And we have a mascot, and not a lot of people know this, but we have a mascot, Abby, and she's an astronaut with the koi fish in her helmet. And the koi fish is actually a tattoo that I have on my arm, but it's actually a tattoo that he had on his arm. And so when I started the company, I actually put him in the logo, which is the koi fish technically. And really, I wanted to make sure that, you know, you weren't put into a box. You weren't going to be put into a fishbowl. And even if you were locked into a fishbowl, maybe because of the circumstances that your life is giving to you, you can still put on an astronaut costume and like launch to the moon. And really, like, that's what we've been able to do. And I don't know, just really proud of that. Really proud of that. And I'm proud that I could do something for his name.
It's so powerful. I love that.
That's why we got into the insurance space, and we haven't looked back. And that was 3.5 years ago, I think. Was really went full tilt in insurance. And
I think we met just after, a little bit after you had just started getting into
just full insurance. And now, like, we spend a lot of money on insurance leads now. It's still, I still wake up to this, like, we've grown quite rapidly, and we've had to, you know, play catch up sometimes. And I think we've done an amazing job at being adaptive to what's going on. And I'm really happy with where we're headed. There's some really cool things coming on. Like, I'm really excited about the syndicate and what's to come next year for that too. And Unreal Software, we're launching a new one in December, which is pretty freaking cool. It's just for the agent. There's nothing else you need but in there for the agent, policy stuff, carrier stuff. Really, really cool. But we won't get into that. This was not about to sell products. But I'm really, really excited for the future. You know, we've just scratched the surface on what we're about to do in our companies. Like, I mean, Jordan Belfort's coming to the Extra Syndicate, I think, next year. Don't have the exact date. I do, but I'm not releasing it. So, you know, we're getting to like that stage where I'm really trying to bring in top experts, the biggest guys in the industry and industry beyond, to really bring in an ecosystem of knowledge to every insurance agent as well, and give them those tangible, like, accesses. So really,
for complete transparency, I am in the transfer syndicate. I just got in. And I'll be running some calls here next week. I'll be jumping in and going in at first. And I'm actually excited.
And if he doesn't, the coaches are gonna, like, you know, kick his ass about it. They're gonna tell him. They're gonna tell him. That's the best part, is we have like a bunch of different guys that from all different walks of life, but they're all absolute beasts. And the best part is that we've all actively help each other. Yeah. There's agents jumping on one-on-ones like, hey man, I would just say this rather than this. And you know, people sharing other people's calls and being like, here, can you listen to this? And it's a really cool network. Really cool network. Absolutely. Calls.
So I'm excited to jump in. I think the vision that you have and the goals that you have are amazing. Looking at the future, and like I could tell it's like palpable. You're like, dude, this is just beginning. Like, we're just starting. And I think it's good business when it comes to building a business. Like, there is no fast way. There is no cheat code. There's no like skipping steps on the ladder. The only way you can skip the rungs on a ladder is if you have somebody that's on the ladder above you that reaches down and pulls you up. and says, hey, let me take you from year 2 to year 5. Like,
or you offer them a bunch of cash.
you have a good mentor. So I always recommend getting a good mentor. And I've been blessed to have a few mentors and different groups that I'm a part of. But people are always looking for like the easiest solution to be like, well, I'm going to make all those gurus online on like Instagram. They're like, I can show you how to scale your business to $100,000 a month in 7 months. That shit is fake. Okay. It's fake. It doesn't exist. Okay.
It does if you do the work.
The problem is that
you didn't do the work right.
Exactly. The best way to scale is one client at a time, one customer at a time, one agent at a time. Don't go hire. If you hire, and I always have this challenge when I talk to agents that are in other IMOs that are literally like hiring like 100 people a friggin' week. And it's like one person, and they have like one recruiter that they hired that they did from like the Philippines because it's a VA. You think that's going to be a successful model? How are you going to be able to actually determine if anybody that you're talking to actually like fits your organization, or that you can handhold them and teach them and train them and mentor them and get them to the next level? So like what Chase is doing, the transfer syndicate, is he has an application process. They have to get referred in. They have to apply. And then once they're accepted, it's one person at a time. He's not like mass pulling people into his transfer syndicate. He's pulling in like one, maybe two at a time and getting them going, and they're getting the help. And then once they get the help and they're rolling, now they're part of the collective. Now the whole collective is helping everybody. And then when you kept pulling another person or another two people, you have a bigger collective that can all pitch in and help. It's so much smarter. It actually will build to a sense. It'll build to a level to where you get momentum over time. So it's like a compounding effect where it starts off slow, but before you know it, you'll be able to pull on 30 people because there's so many people in the transfer syndicate that as long as you can scale it in terms of marketing and you can support that many people coming on, then it's like, well, I have enough people that will help them get rolling. Yeah. And they all intrinsically want to be a part of it. But that's where you have people that are like they're the same vision, the same mission, they're along the same core values, and they are loyal. They want to be there because it's like this, it's a family almost, right?
Yeah. And we have done it really slow. It's more of my passion project right now, if it makes sense. Like Unreal, they're doing their thing and that's fine. But it was like, how do I wanted to be able to get everybody in the room together and also supply them with the calls that I knew I could supply them. And how did I do that? There's obviously some back end work. We worked for like almost a year and a half to be able to like systemize, how do we do this? What does our cost need to be? What does our price need to be able to give single agents? Because for live transfers, we need agents to be there, right? Like we need them active, ready for phone calls. We drop phone calls that cost us money and we just don't make any money, which doesn't support the business, right? It's really, I needed to make sure that it was tight knit and I trusted the people that were going to be in it. And then we could also build out the courses around it. I could take all of those guys, that are doing 30, 40K a month from transfers consistently. We can all work to build this massive framework that we know is so robust because it's proven time and time again. And then we can make sure that all the agents that come into the syndicate or even to the prep school that we're creating are going to go through at least A to Z where these top producers are taking it and how they're able to take them from a cold to sold in 30 minutes and retain 95% of that business too. So it was more or less, we need to do this really slow. I want to do this really slow. I want to get the right people in the room. People that, I'm not going to mention names, but people that everybody knows, people that are respected in the industry, as well as people that are actually just, under the rock, but still banging the phones and are amazing on the phones. Take them all together. Let's craft, the 5 essential things to telesales and build out a massive course for everybody that comes in. So now when we do allow another 150 or even 200 agents into the prep school, that we have the systems in place that they can go through and we can make sure that they get the support that they need.
Mm.
to get to, those 20K a month each and every month from transfers, because transfers is a different thing. It's not, obviously it takes a lot of the grunt work out of having to dial your leads, etc., more dependable, but it's different. It's a hard thing to get down. You need to hone in your craft. That's what the program's kind of, the prep school is there for, is to take you from, jumping in, understanding your insurance products, maybe understanding how to take the orders, but becoming the sales person and not being a cashier as well. And like actually selling a person in 30 minutes enough that they want to call you when, they may need to cancel, or they're going to call you when Joe needs a policy too. But doing that in a way in 30 minutes, that's going to crush. And these guys have done an amazing job of that. And I'm so excited for us to like just release it to people, even just the courses, because these guys are beasts. It's really cool to see. It's really cool to see the community that is being spawned. It's tight knit right now, but I'm excited for the future.
Dude, this has been an awesome conversation. I did not think that it was going to go to all the places that it did. This is fantastic. I know we're going to have to get you on again to talk more about the transfer syndicate, like probably dig into that, and especially after the new year, because I think there's more things that are coming, for that transfer syndicate after the new year.
Yeah.
Really kind of like break that all down for everybody and tell people a little bit more in detail what this actually looks like and how it's going to change, the lead industry, because everything is, for those of you that don't know, and you are still under a rock, mail's dying. It's on life support. It's happening.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing digital leads, if you're not learning digital leads, if you're not starting to transition digital leads, you are making a mistake. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And if you are transitioning to digital leads, sell them. Don't take orders. And that's like one thing that I have to I see so many agents come into taking a transfer, or we listen to them on a Zoom call with a prospect, and they're, what got you interested in life insurance, or are you good with what you currently have? That's the worst thing. Don't say that in a call. Are you good with what you currently have?
Yes or no question. Stop asking those.
Yeah.
And zero thought. They're like, yep. Oh, okay.
It almost becomes like they're a cashier at McDonald's, like just trying to take an order, which, nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, hey, I want an insurance product today. Yeah. They might have filled out a form saying, hey, I'm looking to look into this, but they're not going in and saying, I need a final expense whole life, this amount of time. Like they have no idea what they want. So don't expect them to walk into your pipeline or call them and drill into them. The first thing you should always do is just like build a report. Hey, calling you because you've requested more life information about life insurance. I just want to get you that information. Let's have a quick conversation. Keep it non-obligatory. Like just keep it casual.
I just want to see if we're a good fit.
Yeah,
see if I can help you and see if I can serve you. And if I can't, if not, no worries.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through all of our scripts. You'd have to go there, but I'm super excited. For the next couple of years, we've really taken a tone back in who we're bringing on too. Like, I think before that was one of the biggest mistakes we made, was just like, let's sell everybody.
Yeah.
Because you just get excited, I think, and it's like, whoa. You sell everybody, and then those people don't align with what you're currently doing. And that's also things like, we want to make sure when you come in and take our marketing efforts, take our leads, take our calls, whatever it might be, or use a CRM, that you understand the customer journey. If you're taking multiple lead vendors, you don't fully understand the customer journey of where these people are seeing, what it might be. And you need to have that really dialed in from the time the person fills out the form, they get on the phone and go to you, or you get them on the phone. What process has it been? And if you're taking multiple different lead types, it just gets confusing. And you're not going to be as effective as you possibly can. And we're trying to limit that. It's like, if you're going to take our leads, here's the process that's going to get you the best result. If you steer away from that process, unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to get you the result. You might have something that's dialed in, and there is cases where it does work. But we just want to make sure that you get the best result. And, that's also why in the syndicate you have to be committed to it. Like you have to be there and committed to it, or we won't allow you to be in. Because if you just take it for a week and you have a bad week, you're never going to get anywhere. You need to come back to it. You can stay consistent. You're going to be able to tone in and dial in that process with that specific marketing type, with that specific messaging. That's really going to get you the production that you want.
Yeah.
When you're flip flopping everywhere,
it's the commitment piece.
Yeah, when you're flip flopping everywhere, you're starting at ground zero every new lead vendor you take.
Yeah.
Because you're still gonna have your one script is not gonna match every single lead vendor or every single lead. You need to really hone in the messaging. Once you figure out how these people are coming in and what's the best timing to get a hold of them, and you're doing it quick enough that you're getting them, it's really about dialing in that messaging with that specific lead, and you'll get the production that you want. So staying consistent with it. But
consistency is everything. So Chase, thank you so much for coming on board.
Man.
This has been an awesome chat, man. I really appreciate it, taking your time and just jumping on the Be the Difference podcast with me. I at the end of each podcast, I ask a guest a specific question.
Boom.
Do you know what the question is? Have you listened to any of my podcasts? Yeah, you haven't. So that question is,
no offense, pal. No offense. I don't even watch my own podcasts.
Well, because you're recording them yourself. I don't watch my own either. That would be weird. So I guess maybe, I don't know. I wonder if people do that. Anywho, doesn't matter. There's 3 questions there's a question that I ask for every single person that's on as a guest. And that question is, if you could break bread and have a meal and learn from and just pick their brain and understand something about them, 3 people, either dead or alive, throughout history, who would those 3 people be? And why?
Fuck, that's a good question. Well, I would say I would want to speak with Warren Buffett.
Okay. He's a first.
Just because I'm the complete opposite investor to him, so I would love to just maybe tone myself down a little bit. Second would be probably Bob Marley, as crazy as that is to say. But yeah, I think Bob Marley would be the one, because I need more peace in my life and more grounding, and I think he'd be an amazing person just to talk to. Who else? That's a really tough question, because there's a lot of people.
That's the first person that comes to mind right
Elon
now.
Musk.
Ooh, there you go.
Be like, yeah, give me like the deets. What's the next project? I'm buying all the stocks.
Insider trading. Here we go.
Like, let's go.
That's awesome, man. So those are all very unique ones. I've had Elon Musk before, but I've not had Bob Marley or Warren Buffett before. So Chase, thank you so much, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. For everyone watching, this has been an amazing podcast. There's so many different nuggets of information, from the mindset of an entrepreneur, from, being consistent in your business, how to actually grow your mind in multiple different ways. This is one you're going to want to go back and listen to and kind of take out these little nuggets that Chase is dropping, because he's obviously had an amazing journey to get to where he is, and he's continuing to grow, and he's continuing to reach new levels. That's not by accident, right? If you got value from this, if you watch it till now, and I know you got value, and what I want you to do is I need your help. I need you to help share this message. So take this content and share it with somebody else. Put it on your social media. Tell a friend about it. Send a link. It doesn't matter, but that's how we grow. We grow by word of mouth. I don't put ads on this so that you guys can actually just go in and get the training. And if we provide value, I ask that you do a value-based exchange, which is you share this content with another person. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. As always, I'm your host, Greg.